get crazy, Rena. We don't make mistakes, just happy little accidents here on the show. And no, folks, you're not seeing ghosts. Bob Ross lives here on Open this morning. But Rena, I will tell you who does see ghosts. New York Jets quarterback Sam Darnold. We go inside the locker room for more.
They were tremendous tonight. They did good on all phases, created turnovers. Tom Brady was being Tom Brady. We just got to be played better on defense.
Yeah, I think a little bit of everything, to be quite honest with you. I think they do a good job of keeping you on your toes as a defense. Clearly, I won't speak from our offensive perspective, but as a defense, you know, they did a little bit of everything. I think you saw some reverses, some gadget plays, some lead downhill, some big passes, all of that type of stuff. So they definitely keep you on your toes, and yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can't. You got to call a spade a spade. I mean, it was embarrassing losing like that, but I mean, I'm not going to think about it too much after tomorrow. Watch the film, bite your teeth about it, and then get on to Jacksonville, because you can't really linger on about stuff like this. You got to just wash that out and take it into the next week.
The Jets have gone from seeing ghosts to seeing red. The team is livid with the decision to air a comment from quarterback Sam Darnold during the Monday Night Football broadcast on ESPN that was, he was seeing ghosts. Jets coach Adam Gase said the team will reevaluate their cooperation with having players and coaches mic'd up moving forward. 33-0 loss to the Patriots, one of the worst Jets games ever. Gase said before practice Thursday he expected Darnold to have a limited practice. Darnold did not. The quarterback was a full participant on the team's official injury report. That's good news for Darnold and the Jets after he sat out Wednesday's injury with a toe injury. Starting to lose my beard, folks. Gangrene, Darnold, and the Jets, and the Ghosts, too, actually, are in Jacksonville this Sunday. Kickoff is 1 p.m. Only bright spot for the Jets last Monday night was an awesome pregame and halftime ceremony for newly minted Hall of Famer Kevin Mawai. I'm going to go and paint while we roll this package because, remember, I like to talk to trees and animals, and that's okay. I have more fun than most people. Roll the tape.
2 years ago, I stood before you and had the privilege of being inducted into the New York Jets Ring of Honor. I stand here before you now, recognized as one of the best that ever played the game, and I'm humbled by this opportunity. I'm thankful for God who gave me the opportunity, gave me the talents to do what I did. I'm grateful for my wife, Tracy, who's here with me tonight, who has made this journey with me the whole way. My teammates, some of them were here today. I couldn't have done it without them. And playing here in the Meadowlands, in front of the greatest fans in all the NFL, I want to thank every one of you guys. The Hall of Fame is not an individual accomplishment. It's only done because of the people that come along the way with you. Some of the greatest moments in my life, in my football career, have been made in the Meadowlands. And I want to thank you, the Gang Green, for welcoming me home. Go Jets!
Congrats to Kevin. In other NFL news, Josh Gordon's time in New England appears to be over as the Patriots plan on waiving the receiver after placing him on IR. In a corresponding move, the Pats have acquired veteran wide receiver Mohamed Sanu from the Atlanta Falcons for a second-round draft pick. The 30-year-old gives the Patriots an inside target, especially on third down, to help take pressure off top receiver Julian Edelman. The 6'2", 210-pound Sanu is in his 8th season and has 33 receptions for 313 yards and 1 touchdown in 2019. Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes was at practice yesterday. This beard is really driving me crazy. For the second time this week, it marked a week since Mahomes' kneecap dislocation against the Denver Broncos in Week 7. After practicing in a limited capacity on Wednesday, Mahomes is back at it again. But a few accounts, he appears to be moving around out there better than he did during his first day back. But that's really incredible, Rena, You know what's really incredible is how the New York Mets continue to pass on qualified managerial candidates. It makes it worse when your rival grabs the manager you likely should have taken. The Philadelphia Phillies have hired former New York Yankees manager Joe Girardi as their next skipper. The team announced that he receives a 3-year contract with a team option in 2023. Girardi replaces Gabe Kapler, who was fired after 2 disappointing seasons. The Phillies went into last season with high hopes after signing Bryce Harper, but still missed the playoffs, finishing at 81-81 and in 4th place in the National League East. Girardi also interviewed with the Mets, who still have an opening, and the Chicago Cubs, who went with David Ross. The Phillies reportedly also talked to former Major League managers Buck Showalter and Dusty Baker. The Phillies have a new manager. The Yankees are without a center fielder. I guess it's good they aren't playing right now. Yankees center fielder Aaron Hicks will have Tommy John surgery on his throwing elbow next week and is expected to miss 8 to 10 months, Rena. Yankees general manager Brian Cashman announced Thursday that Hicks will have the operation Wednesday in L.A. Cashman also revealed that ace Masahiro Tanaka recently underwent arthroscopic surgery to have bone spurs removed from his pitching elbow, and that first baseman Luke Voit had surgery to repair a core muscle injury. Tanaka and Voit are expected to be ready for spring training, according to Cashman. The Yankees' expected timeline on Hicks is not as optimistic, who he missed, nearly 2 months near the end of the season with what the team described as a flexor injury near his elbow. The Astros may be good at baseball on the diamond, but they aren't so good at all the other stuff surrounding it, folks. Houston fired Assistant General Manager Brandon Taubman on Thursday, admitting in a statement that his inappropriate comments about the acquisition of closer Roberto Osuna were directed at a group of female reporters. A report published earlier this week by Sports Illustrated's Stephanie Apstein said that during the celebration in the Astros clubhouse after clinching the American League Championship Series on Saturday, Taubman turned to a group of female reporters, including one wearing a purple domestic violence awareness bracelet, and repeatedly yelled, "Thank God we got Osuna. I'm so expletive glad that we got Osuna." Now, no expletive. It was an actual curse, folks. Last season, Osuna served a 75-game suspension for violating Major League Baseball's domestic violence policy stemming from an incident that happened while he was a member of the Toronto Blue Jays. On to more lighthearted, controversial news. All-time great Michael Jordan doesn't think Steph Curry is a Hall of Famer, at least not yet. Sorry, MJ, I can't agree on this one. I'm going to go with Curry and head coach Steve Kerr. Curry could never set foot on a basketball court again, and he would be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. This isn't even up for debate. He's a 3-time NBA champion. He's a 2-time MVP, one of which came courtesy of the only unanimous vote in league history. He led his team to an NBA record 73 regular season wins. He's won a scoring title. He's a 6-time All-Star and a 6-time All-NBA player. He holds the record for single-season three-pointers made with 402, which is just plain stupid. He's one of 9 players in history to log a 50, 40, 90 shooting season while playing in at least 60 games. Even better, he is one of 3 players in history to go 50, 45, 90 while playing in more than 31 games. MJ, you can paint that on your canvas, buddy. Speaking of Hall of Fame performances, how about New Brooklyn net Kyrie Irving in his return home on Wednesday night? An emotional Kyrie dropped 50 points but stumbled on the game winner. Irving got what he wanted, and it's easy to tell he's happy to be back in the place that he considers home, New York. Sadly, the Nets lost, though, thanks largely to Karl Anthony Towns. Cat took charge for the Timberwolves and finished the night with 36 points and 14 rebounds. Nets lost their opener. So did the Knicks in San Antonio, despite 21 points from first-round pick R.J. Barrett. Knicks-Nets goes down tonight, and Brooklyn, one of these teams, Michael, will earn their first win of the season. Winning come playoff time isn't in the cards for NYCFC in soccer. NYCFC, a team that looked like an MLS contender during the regular season, has found itself out of the playoffs at the conference semifinals. That sentence was true in 2016, 2017, 2018, and was made true in humiliating fashion once again after NYCFC lost to Toronto on Wednesday night, 2-1 loss at Citi Field. In the Octagon, UFC 244 should be a goodie unless Nate Diaz is out, of course. Thankfully, Diaz has not been provisionally suspended by the USADA, the UFC's anti-doping partner, despite an adverse drug test finding that Diaz announced himself Thursday. He told ESPN, or ESPN had sources that said that. Diaz tweeted a statement Thursday afternoon that said he would not be competing against Jorge Masvidal at UFC 244 on November 2nd at Madison Square Garden. Diaz wrote that he was informed he had an adverse drug test finding and said he will not make the trip to New York unless things get figured out. To that, Rena, Bob Ross says there's nothing wrong with having a friend as a tree. Conor McGregor isn't particularly good at making friends, but he is good at making comebacks. The star fighter announced his comeback date Thursday. The former 2-division UFC champion said at a news conference in Moscow that he will return to the Octagon on January 18th in Las Vegas. McGregor said he knows his opponent, but would not reveal his name because if he did, the UFC would flip it, quote unquote. Sources are saying Conor versus cowboy Donald Cerrone. Let's get crazy. Let's get crazy. The third round of the NASCAR Cup playoffs gets cranked up this weekend at Martinsville Speedway after what can only be described as a scintillating end of the second round at Kansas. There are plenty of storylines to follow heading into the third round, which also includes races at Texas and Phoenix. Kansas winner Danny Hamlin, who's the third seed, has won 5 times this season. He was incredibly consistent in the second round, also finishing 5th at Dover and 3rd at Talladega. He probably wears the mantle of the best driver to never have won the championship. He was close in 2010 when he finished 2nd behind Jimmy Johnson. He's poised to take that next step. He won the Daytona 500 this year. He's had a great year. So has Lewis Hamilton, Arena. But when does this guy not have a great year? Hamilton inched closer to a 6th world championship with 3rd place at the Japanese Grand Prix. He can wrap it up in Mexico City this Sunday. Those are the headlines. We hit the C-list to paint a better picture, yes, a better picture of what's happening in the World Series. The Washington Nationals are dominating the Fall Classic. They lead 2-0. Of the 55 teams to have taken a 2-0 series lead in the World Series, 44 went on to win it. That includes 17 of the last 18. The 1996 Yankees were the last team to come back from a 2-0 deficit. The Nationals batted around 2 innings in a row, turning a 2-2 game into a 9-run rout in Game 2 in Houston. It was a Texas-sized butt-whooping in Houston, a 12-3 thrashing that sends the Astros off for what they hope will be 3 games in D.C., but they need to win at least 1 for that to happen, and if they don't win 2, Wednesday's debacle will have been the last game of the season at Minute Maid Park. Houston finds itself down 2-0. We all know about that 19-31 start by the Nationals. If you throw that out the window, they've gone 84-40, a .677 winning percentage that translates to a 110 win pace over 162 games. Go back to the end of the regular season, and they've won 18 of their past 20 games, including a record-tying 8 in a row now in the postseason. The Nationals are red hot, and while we are searching for Carmen Sandiego here this morning, we have found the team that likely will win the World Series. You can argue they have the starting pitcher edge over the Astros the next 2 games starting tonight in D.C. Game 3 lines up as Zach Greinke versus Anibal Sanchez tonight. Greinke hasn't been particularly great this postseason, giving up 10 runs in 14 innings. Over 3 starts, he gave up 5 home runs over his first 2 outings, and while he escaped with only 1 run in 4 1/3 innings against the Yankees, he also walked 4 batters. Sanchez, meanwhile, will have a 2-week layoff since taking a no-hitter into the 8th inning in Game 1 of the National League Championship Series against the St. Louis Cardinals. Patrick Corbin should line up to face Houston's bullpen in Game 4. That's not necessarily the worst thing for the Astros as they have a deep bullpen. Still, Corbin went 14-7 with a 3.25 ERA in the regular season. He's one of the best lefties in the game. You'll take that over a bullpen day any day. So on behalf of this whole crew here, I'd like to wish you happy painting, a happy Halloween, and congrats to the Nationals for doing what the Yankees could not do. Bob Ross, signing off. Stay tuned.